having access to the markets where they can directly sell. Because I see a huge opportunity in terms of entrepreneurship where this connectivity can be leveraged.
Yeah, absolutely good point, and I'll do a quick answer given that I'm sure there are other questions. And I did not talk about that. But another part of the big silent revolution that's happening is the emergence of the farmer producing organizations, FPOs, and they are basically they are the true startups in the country. They are basically the true farmer turned entrepreneurial organizations in the country. We've had the ugly side of farmers coming together in the form of cooperatives, which have not really worked other than the milk, the highly successful milk cooperative, which is Amul and NDDB. But if you leave the milk thing aside, it's not worked anywhere else. But the new FPOs, the farmer producing organizations that have got set up, and we work very closely with them. We have a program of training them, educating them, empowering them. These are all organizations where all the shareholders are farmers. The board of directors is farmers. They recruit a CEO from the social community, from their neighborhood community, and that person puts these farmers together. And these FPOs are 3,000, 4,000 farmers. We work with FPOs that are women only, for example. And women in the community have then become, active leaders and board members of not in the classical sense of board of directors where people meet in a boardroom. They're just women leaders demonstrating leadership on the ground, on the field. So the emergence of FPOs is really what I think is the answer for agri-entrepreneurship going forward.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. One last question here. Okay, I'll allow one more. So we're in an agriculture session. I don't want to keep you away from your calories. So just two questions and then we close the session.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Vijay and I represent a small startup with IoT and agriculture. My question, I have two of them, one for Ayona. You mentioned in your presentation that using IoT in agriculture would require new business models. And then you mentioned briefly there is one that was experimented in Greece. Could you elaborate on that? And the second one, if I may ask, is for Mr. Samir Shah. It's regarding, the e-markets actually are a good treasure trove of historic price data. And any startup or any firm that wants to integrate pre and post harvesting would actually like to access this historic data regarding prices for price discovery, prediction, and also for warehousing, spare capacity to actually warehouse to the farmer, like a holistic solution. Do you have any public interfaces that we could use, or is it in there?
Snap answers to this question.
Okay, I mentioned a few minutes ago that the farmer needs to be trained and educated in order for him to be able to use the technologies. However, the business model that I mentioned was not based on this. There is a small company, non-government one, that managed to get some funding from a bank in Greece. Actually, the bank, the second largest bank in Greece, that has taken over the Agricultural Bank of Greece. So they have an interest in promoting technologies in agriculture. So they invested heavily on building hardware and deploying throughout the country. The farmer didn't pay anything. They just gave them the authority to install stations, soil stations for soil measurements, as well as weather stations for atmospheric monitoring and so on. And why did they do that? They collect data, as many data as possible. They process the data, and they develop prediction algorithms. They develop applications based on this, and these they sell ready to be used, both to the farmer as well as to agronomists that consult the farmers.
Thank you. May I request you to meet with Mr. Shah offline and get your answer to this? I'm told that the chef is getting very anxious.
Sure.
With that, may I close the session? Thank you all.
Okay.
That was wonderful.
So now that was an intriguing session with bundles of knowledge to grasp. And thank you so much, respected speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a big round of applause. And with this, let's take a break and we will be back after lunch. See you all at 2:15.